Hi everyone, welcome to another Autodesk screencast by Dzan Ta of Repro Products. In today's screencast, we're going to take a look at the dimensioning commands within AutoCAD. Here I am in AutoCAD 2017, and in the Home tab of the ribbon, there is the Annotate tab, and then there are some dimensioning commands, Dimension, Linear, and the little drop-down menu of other commands. You can also access the dimension commands under the Annotate tab of the ribbon. When you click this, it'll take you to the dimension panel, and in here you have a lot of dimensions to work with. In Autodesk AutoCAD 2016, I think it's Service Pack 2, Release 2, they introduced the dimension command here. It's kind of like a smart dimensioning command, but you also have all the other traditional commands. So let's cover the dimensioning commands within AutoCAD. First we have is linear. If you select this, it'll ask you to specify the annotation scale. And the reason they do this is because if we take a look in the dimensions panel, there is a drop-down list to specify the dimensioning style that we're working with. One of the easiest ways to kind of look and approach creating the dimensions is to head over to, say, a sheet, and we'll delete this view. We'll create another view, and then we'll scale this and set the scale properly. Let's set it for 3/8 inches equal to a foot. And then we'll lock it. If we head over to the properties of that viewport, you'll see that the scale is set to 3/8, annotation scale is set to 3/8, and we've locked the viewport. Now that our cursor is inside the viewport, we can actually do dimensioning with annotation properly. So those dimension styles and text styles and other types of objects that have annotative capability, they have a little triangular cross-section symbol. So we'll want to pick one of these. If you need to, you can click this little arrowhead here and get into the properties of how that particular style was created. And it has all this detailed information to get into to change how things look and appear. We're not going to worry about that now. We're just going to go ahead straight into the first command, linear. So I'll start the command. I have my O snaps turned on, which makes life a little easier. I'll pick 2 points and I'll click and I get a linear dimension. That's horizontal. If I do a linear dimension vertical, that's just, again, picking 2 points, say this point here, and place it. I can do an aligned dimension, and that is when you're creating a dimension such that the object, the dimension follows the alignment of the main object. So for example, this is on layers wall, so let's make that current. And we'll just draw, say, some line work here, like so. And if I head back to my dimensions layer, let's start that dimensioning command again. And we'll pick aligned. This time I'll pick this point and I'll pick this point. And when I go to place it, it places the aligned dimension parallel to the object that's being dimensioned. Let's choose angular, which is very simple. You're picking 2 entities and then clicking to place where you want that dimension to sit. You can pick arc length. Arc length is when it looks at the arc, for example here, and then you click to place it, and it gives you the arc symbol and the length of the arc. And you can hide this symbol if you don't need to see it. Let's head over to radius. Radius is very simple. You just select a curve, and it'll ask you to place the radius by clicking wherever you want. Same thing with diameter. We'll start that command, pick the arc, and then move your mouse and click to place the tag. And you'll notice the radius command, dimension command has an R. The diameter command has a diameter symbol. You also have jogged. Jogged is when you have a dimension and it's to represent, let's say we have an arc. Let's draw, add selected. Let's say we have an arc that is really, really big, like so. And we'll just move this to a different layer. Well, the center point of this arc is off this sheet of paper somewhere over here. And so that would be a good instance why you use a jogged dimension. So you click the arc, then it will ask you to specify the location of the center, and that's an override. So let's say hypothetically, I just put it over here. Then it asks you to click where you want to place the text, and then where you want to place the jog. And there you go. Now, obviously, the size of this can also be adjusted too within the properties of the dimension style. And then you have ordinate dimensioning. And ordinate dimensioning basically is you picking a point, and it will figure out what is the x or the y value at that point, like so. There are other dimensioning commands. Like I said, this is the new one called dimension. It's a smart one. And what it does is it kind of looks at what you're picking and selecting and tries to figure out which of these dimension styles that you're working with and dimension commands you're working with and use it for you. So I click dimension, and if I put my mouse over, say, this object, it thinks it wants to dimension just the length of that object. So I click it, and then I click to place it, and I'm done. If I use that dimension command and I decide to pick 2 points, I can also do that as well. I can hit the command and pick this, and I'll get to this. So depending on how you pick the entities will help try to get the software, the Dimension Smart command, to figure out what you're wanting to specify. And then lastly, it takes a little bit of practice to get it to figure out what you're trying to pick. Worst case, if you can't get it to give you that type of dimension that you want, say for example angle, you can just click angular here in the command line, and then you can pick the 2 entities, and then you can click to place the dimension. So depending on how smart this is and how much, how sensitive it is and where you're clicking objects will help dictate and tell the software what type of dimension to use. But at the end of the day, if it doesn't work the way you expect it to, then force it by picking one of the subcommands here. And that's it. That's how you work with some of the dimensioning commands in AutoCAD. Thank you very much for watching.